My Brother Sam is Dead Chapter 6 Summary. Once Tim has decided that he wants to run Mr. Heron's errand, he waits for an excuse to see Mr. Heron. Within 2 days, this excuse comes when Mr. Heron orders a keg of rum from the tavern and Father sends Tim to deliver it. At the delivery, Tim volunteers to run the errand. Mr. Heron asks Tim to set out with a letter the following morning. The next morning, Tim tells his father that he will be fishing all day. He goes to see Mr. Heron, who explains that he must deliver a letter to Fairfield, which is a 5-hour walk away. While walking, Tim runs into Betsy, who spies the letter and begins to tease Tim about it being a love letter. Tim lies and says he is going fishing, thinking that he is lying and lying is a sin. Betsy tells Tim that she is going to visit Sam. Tim is shocked to hear this. Betsy evades his questions about Sam's whereabouts and experiences, declaring smugly that Tim is a Tory and therefore doesn't deserve to know. Tim does make her tell him that the source of her information about Sam was Mr. Heron, and Tim wonders aloud why Mr. Heron said nothing to him about Sam that morning. Betsy immediately deduces that Tim is carrying a letter from Mr. Heron, and she demands to have it, fearful that it is a spy report that would endanger Sam. Tim refuses to believe her or give her the letter, fearing he may get thrown in jail for opening the letter to check. Betsy counters that Sam may get killed if he does not open the letter. She lunges for him and the two fight bitterly, hitting each other. Betsy wins the fight, snatching up the letter and running. She reads it and discards it on the road. Tim follows her and picks up the slip of paper, which reads, "If this message is received, then we will know that the messenger is reliable." Chapter 7. Throughout the summer of 1776, Tim manages to avoid Mr. Heron after failing to deliver his letter. Soon Tim forgets about the whole thing. Food is still short, but the Meekers are not in dire straits. They receive 2 letters from Sam speaking of high spirits but bad living conditions. Mother and Father argue about whether to respond to him or not. Father says Sam should not be given the impression that they approve of his betrayal. When the second letter arrives, Mother points out the irony that Father hates people telling him what to do, yet he insists that Sam respect his authority. Mother decides to write, regardless of Father's disapproval. November nears, and Father needs to make his annual trip to Verplanck's Point to sell cattle and stock up on supplies for the tavern. He consults almanacs, trying to time his trip close enough to winter that the buyers are desperate for cattle, but not so close that snow will plague the journey. Usually Sam makes the trip with Father, but this year Father takes Tim, even though he considers him too young for such a long and difficult trip. As they set out, Tim enjoys the young children watching him. He is proud to be doing an adult task. Father and Tim are stopped in Ridgebury by 6 cowboys, armed cattle thieves. The cowboys ask Father where he is going with his cattle and then remind him that Verplanck's is in British-occupied New York, and his beef will go to feed the enemy army. They speak roughly to Father, calling him Tory, and demanding that he get off his horse. The cowboys then send Tim away to a field while they beat Father on the head with their pistols. Just as Tim cries out to them not to shoot his father, several loyalist horsemen arrive on the scene and scare the cowboys away, then escorting Tim and his father to their relative's house in New Salem.